US 322. Yeah. Alright. Hello everyone. My name is Cornamon437, and in the last video I made, I talked about the control cities, which are the places that a road is assigned to go to for US Route 322 eastbound. And now we're going to do the westbound section. We're going to be starting in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and working our way back to Cleveland, Ohio, covering some new stuff we didn't see on the eastbound portion, and not really going to as much detail on what we saw in the last video because I don't want this video to be another hour and 45 minute long behemoth. But anyway, let's look at the map of our route. As we saw on the eastbound section, US Route 322 westbound begins in New Jersey on the shores of the Atlantic, makes its way through the Philly metro area, goes through the grasslands of central Pennsylvania, mountainous western Pennsylvania, and forested areas closer to the Ohio border, and then goes through more grasslands on the eastern part of Ohio before finally ending in Cleveland on the shores of Lake Erie. If you like what you see here today, please be sure to leave a like. If you have any feedback for me, please leave a comment and be sure to subscribe if you really enjoyed it. So without further ado, let's get into our 494 mile dive into westbound US Route 322. And we start here in Atlantic City, New Jersey with this 2 US Route 40 shield. As we saw in the eastbound video, we are concurrent with US 40 right out of Atlantic City to start the route. And then here, a little bit down the road, we got our first reassurance shields for our concurrency of US Routes 40 and 322. And then we can see we will be meeting the Atlantic City Expressway in 1 mile. And this green sign tells you that if you want to go to Philadelphia and Camden, that you will want to take the Atlantic City Expressway. Of course, New Jersey putting good control cities on a toll road, but not the free route. And here is our split to get onto the Atlantic City Expressway with the control city of Philadelphia. And just as we did at the tail end of our eastbound route, we begin this route pretty soon after we start US Routes 40 and 322. We run into US Route 9, and the situation for getting on US Route 9 is basically the opposite of what we saw in the eastbound video. To get to southbound US Route 9, you have to make a left turn, and to get to northbound US 9, you go to a stoplight. And remember how I said I couldn't find a control city for US Route 9 northbound when I talked about it on our eastbound journey? Yeah, well, it turns out I didn't look in the right place. It was right here the whole time. US Route 9 north gets signed for Smithville. Because, you know, it's not like New York City exists! But whatever, it doesn't really matter that much. What are we signed for? Ugh! Camden! The addiction with Camden continues to rear its ugly head. And by the way, southbound US Route 9 for Cape May is an awful choice. There is another city on US Route 9 southbound that is closer and bigger, and I forget what the name of it is, but I'll throw it up on screen because that is absolutely what should be signed there instead, and not Cape May. And I'm not going to say what Westbound 322 should be. In fact, you could probably already figure it out. But nope, it should not be Camden. This road does not go to Camden. It does not get anywhere near close to Camden. And I'll just say this for now. US 322 has much bigger fish to fry going westbound. And here we actually have a direct interchange with the Garden State Parkway. We did not have such a thing on the eastbound portion, and actually there are 2 ramps to get onto the southbound Garden State Parkway. There was another one before this picture, and the one that we can see coming up. Although that's the one if you take County Route 563. And in the distance, we can actually see a sign saying that if you want to go to Philadelphia and the Delaware Memorial Bridge on US 40 and 322 westbound, you should keep right. Wow! New Jersey's actually going to do a good, proper control city on this route? Really? That almost sounds like it's too good to be true. Let's see if this holds up. Because yes, 322 should be signed for Philly, and 40 should be signed for Philly right now because it is concurrent with 322. But then US 40 splits off to go west to Mays Landing, and we can see that 322 West is signed for Camden still. Ugh! No! Philadelphia. Philadelphia is what should be on that sign. No place for Camden here. We should be signed for Philadelphia. Do you hear me, New Jersey DOT? You should put Philadelphia on this sign. No ifs and or buts about it. We are going to Philadelphia. That is what is important, and nothing else matters. Ugh. So provincial. And then we meet New Jersey Route 54 again, and it has the same control cities as before. And you know what? I think these all make sense. I mean, these are all places in New Jersey, and you know, Trenton is pretty big. I'm not really sure if New Jersey Route 54 should be signed southbound for anything other than Buena and Meadville, but you know what? It's just a little state road. I'm sure these are fine. I'm not really going to look too deeply into it. And once again, we can see that we are signed west for Camden. Ugh. And then we meet New Jersey Route 42 once again, and this is the route that will take you to Camden, and we are signed for Glassboro. No. Now, okay. Since I finished the eastbound video, after filming it and recording it and editing and stuff, I realized that Glassboro is actually the location of Rowan University, and 23,000 people isn't exactly small potatoes for this route. And so I suppose I can make peace with it. It's fine to sign that out of Philly, but only on eastbound. Westbound, it has no business being here. This, again, should be Philadelphia. There is absolutely no reason for anything else here in New Jersey going westbound. We are going to Philadelphia. So, once again, there is no reason for anything else to be on this sign, okay? Get rid of Glassboro, put Philly on there. Put Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Do you hear me, New Jersey DOT? You have been super provincial for this whole time so far, and I have a feeling it's not going to get any better. We get our first mileage sign that we will see in this video, and on the bottom line we get Bridgeport. What the hell is Bridgeport? I've never heard of Bridgeport, New Jersey before working on these videos. What is that? Ugh. No. That should be like a second line place on this sign. Philadelphia belongs on the bottom line. No questions asked. Philadelphia. That is what should have been on like the controlled destination signs, like when there was just like one city, you know, like 322 West, Camden. No, Philadelphia. And it should be on the bottom line of the mileage signs. Ugh. And then we meet New Jersey Route 55 once again, and it has this stupid northbound control city of Belmar. Alright, I guess that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. I really don't know. I really don't care, because this road leads to other roads that will take you to Philly. So that's what should be signed there, northbound for 55, and not Belmar. What is that? I think it's just like some nothing random little town in New Jersey. And then on New Jersey Route 55, westbound, we get signed for Richwood and Mullica Hill. That same stupid control city that we had going eastbound when we were meeting Interstate 295. Oh, holy crap. This is so bad so far. And then I completely missed the intersection that we have with New Jersey Turnpike going eastbound, or I just completely had no idea it was there. But either way, we are seeing it right now, and to get to the New Jersey Turnpike, you will turn left at this stoplight in the distance, and northbound it gets signed for New York City, good, and southbound Wilmington, bad. Should be Baltimore on there. There is no reason for Wilmington to be there when it is dwarfed by that city of like 700,000 people southbound, and Wilmington is just like freaking some random nothing little town in Ohio that we saw on eastbound by comparison. And then when we look on the turnpike, we are signed for Swedesboro. Oh my god. Swedesboro is like 3,000 people, and it's not even on US 322. You know, I said it earlier, but you know, New Jersey actually really didn't do that bad of a job in the eastbound video, especially after I came to terms with Glassboro being a fine eastbound control city, like when we crossed the Delaware River and stuff. But here, New Jersey is showing its true colors. It is showing how provincial it should be by just absolutely refusing to sign Philadelphia here. Oh my god, this science has been absolutely horrible so far. And you know what? I'm just going to spoil it. It's really not going to get any better. We meet Interstate 295, and then we get signed westbound for Commodore Barry Bridge and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania! You can't even put Philadelphia on there. I am absolutely just disgusted by the provincialism that New Jersey has put into its signage here for US 322 westbound, there is not one sign for Philadelphia, and it is absolutely atrocious. It is horrible. The signage that US 322 has had here in New Jersey. Although, and again, I mean, should we really be surprised? I guess not, but still, you know, it's just appalling how they will do anything they can just to not sign Philadelphia. But let's continue. And also, as is the tradition in New Jersey, we don't get told to enter New Jersey, but going westbound as we approach the Commodore Barry Bridge in the background there, here we do get a toll plaza, and it is $5 to cross the Delaware River here, which I'm not sure if that's a fair price to pay. It could be, because, I mean, I imagine there's not like a super ton of cars crossing this bridge. And, I mean, you are taking this bridge over to Philadelphia, so I could see why they would want to make it expensive, but I'm really not sure. I think that could be a reasonable price to pay. It might not be. Whatever. Let's just get into Pennsylvania already. Here at the state line, as we enter Pennsylvania, we don't get a Welcome to Pennsylvania sign, and as far as I could tell, there really isn't a welcome sign to Pennsylvania. But if we're talking about like this 4-lane portion right here, then frankly, I'm glad that we don't have to see one of these abominations. I hate these signs, and I want to harm whoever designed these signs. Oh, they are so ugly. Oh, I talked about this in my thoughts on Todd from Control City Freaks Interstate 99 video. I talked about my thoughts on these signs there. Oh, I hate them. I wish that these nice ones, wherever I'm gonna put them, I wish they didn't get replaced. Those were so much nicer. I hate these Welcome to Pennsylvania signs we have right now, and just, ugh. I absolutely despise the person who thought that was a good design for these welcome signs. Ugh, they're so ugly. But enough ranting. Let's just continue. And as we continue to cross the Commodore Barry Bridge, we get this sign telling us that we are going to be meeting Interstate 95 for Philadelphia and Wilmington, the incorrect control city for southbound as opposed to Baltimore, and that we will also have the option to take 95 to 476, and that is coming up in 3/4 of a mile. And then at our first exit in Pennsylvania, for Pennsylvania Route 291 going to Chester, we can see that US 13 is also thrown into the mix here, as opposed to just Pennsylvania Route 291 going eastbound. And then we can also see that to get to these different universities, depending on which one you are heading to, you will want to take either 95 South for Newman University and 95 North for Widener University. Here is our exit ramp for Pennsylvania 291 and US 13 for Chester. And again, we get another sign for Interstate 95 going to Philadelphia and Wilmington, as opposed to Baltimore, because, you know, PennDOT, we hate signing stuff outside our borders, just like New Jersey. And then we join with Interstate 95. We have our brief concurrency with southbound Interstate 95. 95 signed for Wilmington, and we are signed west for Westchester. And you know what? Going westbound, that is absolutely 100% fine. In the eastbound video, I said Philadelphia should be signed from Ephrata, and I don't think that the opposite should be done on westbound. I think Ephrata is a little too small to be signed from about 60 miles away from where we are at this point. So I think Westchester absolutely makes sense as a control city here. That is okay, because I think Harrisburg is also just a little too far away to be signed. Yeah, I mean, it's the capital and stuff, but like, Westchester's like 20,000 people or something like that. I think it's not worth ignoring here as opposed to eastbound when it is in the shadows of Philadelphia. Again, I think Westchester's fine to sign here. But anyway, then we get on to Interstate 95. We are actually concurrent with it at this point, and we end up in the far right lane of Interstate 95. You don't have to do any lane shifting shenanigans, which is a good thing, because we only get signed for 322 splitting off from Interstate 95 a half a mile away going to Westchester. So that would be even more dangerous to have to do all that lane shifting after just getting on to 95. And anyway, here US 322 leaves Interstate 95 as it goes southbound to Wilmington. And I'm not going to keep banging on about what it should be signed for, because the argument has already been made too many times, and it just isn't worth continuing about it anymore. And now here we join up with US Route 1 again, and instead of getting signed for Westchester, because, you know, that would make all too much sense, right? No, instead we get signed for Chadds Ford and Kennett Square. I think Kennett Square is actually for US Route 1, but no! Westchester should be on that sign for US 322. That is what we were signed for before, and that is what we should still be signed for. There is no reason for anything else other than Westchester. Why would you not have Westchester there? Ugh. PennDOT. Again, just doing its thing. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then we meet up with US Route 202 again after we have split off from US Route 1. 202 getting signed for Wilmington. Fine for 202, not for 95. And then, once again, westbound, we are signed for Westchester, only 6 miles away. As opposed to having been signed for it the whole time after getting off of Interstate 95. And then, US 322 leaves US 202. We get US 322 just on its own again, and already here we are signed. Actually, I think this is still on the US 202 concurrency, but US 322 will be leaving US 202 in 3/4 of a mile signed for Downingtown, and then we meet Pennsylvania Route 3 again, and this time we actually do get signed for something westbound, which is And then Pennsylvania Route 3 is signed eastbound for Newtown Square. And then we meet Business US 322 once again, and in this direction we get to Pennsylvania Route 162. Either I just didn't look or I didn't see a to Pennsylvania Route 162, but we didn't get that on the eastbound video. And then here we meet Business US Route 30, although we get no direction telling us that to stay on US 322, you have to make a left turn at this intersection, and then you will continue on US 322 westbound by taking the street that is like in the left center of the screen or left bottom. I'll put like a marker on the screen telling you where this exact turn is. But yeah, the only indication that we get that 322 goes westbound on this road is on these little white cards that we can see at the left side of the screen. And honestly, who looks at these? Like, nobody is going to be looking at these signs, except I guess if they are stuck at the traffic light when it's red. But like, why is there not like a sign for US 322 westbound telling you to make a left turn? That's so dumb. Like, why would you just not have that there? Anyway, now we get this right turn to stay on US 322 westbound, and we can see we are also to US Route 30. And then here at the junction for US 30, US 30 is correctly signed. There is nothing telling us that this is actually US 322. Well, I mean, there is this alternate truck East 322 route, but it doesn't just say straight up US 322 eastbound like it did in the eastbound video for 322. But if you want to see my reaction to that, go to the eastbound video. I'll leave it up here in the corner. I had a pretty heated reaction to the absurd signage at this intersection. And going this way, we don't get that stupid sign for Exton, the sign for US 30. There is no control city for US 30 at this intersection as far as I could find. But let's just pretend that there's a sign saying Philadelphia, like, I don't even know how many miles it is from here, but that's what should be signed for eastbound Route 30. And then westbound US Route 30 is signed for Lancaster, which is much better than Coatesville. And that is, fittingly, 30 miles away. I'm just going to skip ahead to Ephrata. There's really not anything worth talking about between the Philly metro area and Ephrata. Again, I don't want this video being like almost 2 hours long, so I'm not going to include as much stuff here. But anyway, we get our diverging diamond interchange with US Route 222 once again, and it gets signed for the same stuff that it was before, which are the correct choices for US 222. Although I really won't go into much further detail about that. I don't really know if it's important to, because, you know, this is a video about 322. But the Dirtpog eventually will be making a video about this road, and whenever it comes out, I highly encourage you to check it out. I'm sure he will have a lot of great things to say about this road. And he gave me a shout out on the 322 eastbound video in the I-99 video, not the I-99 video, the US 220 video. He put a card in there linking to the eastbound video, and I can't thank him enough for that. And he'll also be shouting out the eastbound 322 video whenever the 295s, like Philly bypass, the Richmond bypass, and the Capitol Beltway, whenever that video comes out, if it hasn't already by the time this is being uploaded. I'm sure it probably will, but anyway, we're just going to move on. And we meet Pennsylvania Route 272 once again, and we get signed for Brickerville and Lebanon. I can kind of understand Lebanon because it's a somewhat decently sized town as far as this route is concerned. Although Brickerville absolutely should not be on this sign. It should be Hershey, or heck, just go straight to Harrisburg at this point. Because I think Hershey is a little bit less important for westbound 322. Because the junction with 422 is not so important anymore. In fact, I don't even think we can get onto eastbound 422 because 422 ends at 322. It has its eastern discontinuous section, and we can't even get onto it from there. So I think Hershey is less important for westbound 322. Although I think it's still worth signing because of, you know, the chocolate factory, and also Hershey Park. I didn't even mention that in the eastbound video. Somehow that slipped my mind, but yeah, absolutely we should not be signed for Brickerville. Although again, I think Lebanon is okay. And here in Brickerville, we need Pennsylvania Route 501. It is signed for Schaefferstown going northbound, and southbound it gets signed for Lidditz. Completely unnecessary when you have Lancaster on there. Which, fun fact, Lancaster is actually bigger than Harrisburg. Lancaster has a population of about 60,000 people, Harrisburg 50,000. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, Lidditz should not be on that sign. That is completely unnecessary when you have Lancaster on it. And here, our US 322 sign just keeps getting worse. Instead of getting signed for like Hershey or Harrisburg, instead we get Cornwall. No need for that. The only reason I can assume it would be there is because I think we meet Pennsylvania Route 72 there, which is a route to get to Lebanon. But no. That should be either Hershey or Harrisburg. Just no. There is no need for Cornwall to be there. Absolutely not. And then here we meet Pennsylvania Route 72. Northbound, it gets signed for Lebanon. And then here we actually get West 322 for both Harrisburg and Hershey. So that's really interesting. That is pretty good signage right there. And then we meet Pennsylvania Route 39, which is going west to the chocolate factory and Hershey Park and all that good stuff. Why you would want to go to Hershey. And then westbound 322, we just get Harrisburg. Correct choice. And then we meet Interstate 83 once again. It gets signed southbound for Harrisburg. Once again, correct choice. And we also get a left exit for 283 going to the Harrisburg International Airport and the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And then we can see that we are to Interstate 81, signed for Carlisle, incorrect, and State College, correct. Very well done. And getting on to Interstate 83 is a lot more simple than when we exited Interstate 83 going southbound in the eastbound video. We just get this one pull through on a bridge for West 322 and North 83 to Interstate 81, as we have the ramp for Dairy Street right here. And then at the northbound end of Interstate 83, We got sign for southbound Interstate 81 going to Carlisle. Again, incorrect. Should be Hagerstown or Roanoke. And we get signed westbound on US 322 for State College. So, once again, that is a good choice. I approve of it. And then we get northbound Interstate 81 to Interstate 78, Hazleton, and Allentown. And I talked about what that should be at length in my 322 eastbound video, so I'm just going to refer you to that, which can be found up here. And then here we get the exits for 322 westbound, which is going to be concurrent with US 22 going to Lewistown and State College. And then we get eastbound US 22, which should be to Pennsylvania 230, because we don't quite meet Pennsylvania 230 if we go east on 22 for a little bit. But it gets correctly signed for Harrisburg, and we also throw Cameron Street on there because it doesn't really matter that much as long as we have Harrisburg on there. And then the silly signage of 81 southbound for Carlisle. Here's our actual ramp to get onto 22 and 322 westbound, signed just for State College, as it frankly should be, because westbound Lewistown does not make any sense when compared to going eastbound, where I was fine with Lewistown being on there, but only because it's quite a jump from State College to Harrisburg, and going this direction, State College is not that much farther than Lewistown, and as we get to State College, we have our first sort of almost semi-direct interchange with Interstate 80, you know, like the second longest interstate route in the whole country. Like, I think signage for that route would be far more important than the lowly US routes of 22 and 522 going off to Sealands Grove and Mount Union and stuff. Like, yeah, absolutely Lewistown is irrelevant on westbound 322. So let's continue on our concurrency with US 22 and 322, and the first mileage sign we see has Newport, Lewistown, and State College listed on it. So Lewistown, fine secondary, should not be on the bottom line for any distance between here and State College. And then as the Juniata River splits off from the Susquehanna River, we get this lovely view as we look the other way, going northbound. And then we meet US routes 11 and 15 once again. And this time we actually get Sealands Grove and Williamsport to differentiate 15 from 11. And we get Camp Hill once again going southbound, which once again I said in the eastbound video, I think that should be Gettysburg for US 15. Not quite sure about 11 though, but yeah, we're just going to move on. And then the next mileage sign we see has the same three places listed on it, although I'm a little bugged by the fact that now State College is 1 mile closer compared to Lewistown than it was before. I think they should always be signed exactly 30 miles apart. It should say State College 71, or Lewistown should be 40 miles. I'm just making little nitpicks. What's not so much of a nitpick is that this next mileage sign that we take a look at has Lewistown on the bottom line. There's only two places, with Millerstown being the top line, and that's not right at all. Where did State College go? If anything, Lewistown should be on the top line here, and State College should be on the bottom line. And in fact, if we look back to 2016, here we get a mileage sign with 3 lines on it, with Millerstown being the top line, Lewistown being in the middle, and State College is on the bottom line. So, why did State College disappear from the sign? That's stupid. They made this sign worse. Wow, that's just dumb. Why would they do that? I think that's just not right. State College should still be on the bottom line here. Like I said, there's no reason for Lewistown to be on the bottom line for any distance going westbound. And then here we got another mileage sign. Mifflintown 11, Lewistown 22. Ugh. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. No. Lewistown State College. That's how it should be. Ugh. Pathetic. And then we come into Lewistown and we get 522 northbound, just signed Walnut Street as opposed to Sealands Grove, which, despite what I said before, like, I think 522 at least should be signed for that, because that is its northern terminus where it meets up with US 15 and US 11. So, like, yeah, I said Lewistown should not be on the bottom line for our signs because of this junction and 22, but like for 522, absolutely, its control city should be Sealands Grove. No reason to not have that on there. And then we say goodbye to US routes 522 and 22 as they leave 322 to Mount Union, and we are just signed for State College, as we should be. And then on the bottom line of the next mileage sign that we see is State College. So that's good to see. Although on the next mileage sign after that, State College becomes our top line and Phillipsburg becomes our bottom line at 48 miles away. And spoilers, but I think eventually Phillipsburg will have a place like on the bottom line, but it is not right here. Phillipsburg is absolutely not big enough to be signed from 48 miles away. No, absolutely not. State College should be our bottom line here, still. And then Phillipsburg holds up on the bottom line on the next mileage sign after that, as we are 3 miles closer to both of these places. And then, for no rhyme or reason, we get another mileage sign 3 miles more down the road. This isn't after like an exit ramp or anything. We just get this random mileage sign out in the middle of nowhere. And we get signed for Potter's Mill 6 miles away on the top line. And then the bottom line is the State College once again, now only 19 miles away. So that's really weird. Why does it keep changing? This signage makes absolutely no sense. A lot of this signage on westbound 322 has made no sense so far. And we cross into Center County, so woohoo! My home county. I probably shouldn't be making such a big deal about that, but like, nah. This is my video. I don't care. I'm going to talk about whatever the heck I want. But anyway, here is the Sand Mountain Road interchange, where in the eastbound video I recommended westbound traffic to get off here if you want to get to Pennsylvania Route 144, because either way you're just going to be getting off the road and having to travel quite a distance to get to Pennsylvania Route 144. Although, if you want to take the roundabout, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. And here is the exit for Pennsylvania Route 144 northbound for Potter's Mills. And then 322 west of here is also a truck route bypassing Pennsylvania Route 144, as trucks over 10 tons, if I remember correctly, are not permitted to go through Center Hall on Pennsylvania 144, so they have to take this route to get back to Pennsylvania Route 144. And our, 100-mile or so section of 4-lane divided expressway ends right here, and we will be merging into 2 lanes, as will be the case for almost all of the rest of our time on Westbound 322. And then here, as we start to get closer to State College, we get a list of exits that we can take to get to State College. The first one being Business Route 322, which is Atherton Street, 3/4 of a mile from here, and then 5 miles away is our exit for Pennsylvania 26, which is College Avenue. Here is the Pennsylvania Route 26 exit for State College, and we can see also, if you are a truck and you were supposed to be getting on Pennsylvania Route 144, this is where your truck route leaves US 322, and then we got our first signs for Interstate 99 and 220. The northbound exit is 1 mile away, and we will begin our concurrency with southbound Interstate 99 and US 220 2 miles from now. And we get our first sign for Interstate 80. There actually might have been one earlier than this, but this is the first one that we will see in this video. And then here we get the ramp for Interstate 99 and US 220 to Interstate 80 north for Bellefonte. Nope, should be Williamsport, or you could even make the argument for New York City, because if you take Interstate 99 and 220 to Interstate 80 will take you to New York, so that could be on the sign, or have both Williamsport and New York. I don't really care, but Bellefonte should not be on there at all. And I just wanted to show this view from the northbound ramp as we get on to Interstate 99 and US 20 to Interstate 80. This is also pretty much the same view that we saw from the bridge on Interstate 99 and 220 as it passes over this whole massive interchange that I forgot to get a picture of. But yeah, just look at this scenery. It's so beautiful. I really, really love going up this ramp from US 322 to Interstate 99. It's just so beautiful. But anyway, let's get back onto Westbound US 322 as we are signed for Phillipsburg and Altoona. Altoona being 99 and 220 Control City, which is correct. And also, I think I alluded to it earlier, but I think Phillipsburg is also the correct control city for US 322 westbound. In the eastbound video, I said that State College should be signed out of Dubois, but it would absolutely not make sense to reciprocate that here, because Dubois is still like 60 miles away from here or something like that, and Dubois is way too small to be signed from that far away. Absolutely, it should be Phillipsburg, which is also chunk change in terms of what we're dealing with on this road, but we also have a bunch of junctions with Pennsylvania Route 53, 504, 350, and also Phillipsburg is only 25 miles away from here, so it makes a lot more sense to sign going this way for such a small distance after it has left Interstate 99 and US 220. And then we get a mileage sign with Port Matilda on the top line, 12 miles away, where it belongs. No need for that to be on overhead signs or anything like that. Certainly not northbound out of Tyrone, which also shouldn't have been a control city from Altoona. Yeah, Port Matilda to have on the top line of a mileage sign is fine, but not anything else. And then we got Phillipsburg on the second line, 22 miles away for US 322. And then Altoona is on the bottom line, 40 miles away. So this is a perfect mileage sign right here. Well done, PennDOT. And then here we get our split from Interstate 99 and US 320 going south to Port Matilda. Population like 600. And Altoona. Just Altoona will hold up the sign just fine. Nope, gotta have that Port Matilda for whatever reason. And then we get West 322 Phillipsburg. So, good job there. After we have left Interstate 99 and US 220, we get a nice view here as we join up with eastbound traffic. And our one interchange that we get here on the westbound lanes of US 322 is signed for Reese Hollow Road and East Mountain Road. Again, on the eastbound side, we just got an at-grade intersection. Here we have a full ramp getting off for this exit. And as we continue to go on this brief section of divided expressway going westbound, we get some more lovely scenery as we go through these mountains here. And then this iteration of 4-lane divided expressway US 322 ends shortly after leaving Port Matilda. And we come into Phillipsburg and we get Pennsylvania Route 504 signed for the same things it was before. Unionville 20 miles away going eastbound, and then westbound to 350 where 504 will completely end. And then we meet up with Pennsylvania Route 53 once again, and I actually missed a sign on the eastbound video telling us that southbound Pennsylvania 53 to 350 is actually for Tyrone, 18 miles from here. And we get the same control cities that we got before. Wow. Yeah, Clearfield was 16 miles away westbound. We get that again here. And Coalport is what is signed southbound for Pennsylvania Route 53. And going this way, I think Clearfield absolutely makes sense to sign. Going eastbound, it had State College dominating over it with its huge population of 40,000 people, which is like 13 times bigger than Clearfield or something like that. So Clearfield made no sense to sign eastbound, but westbound, absolutely, I think it makes sense to sign Clearfield, and we'll get into why that is in just a little bit. So, Pennsylvania Route 53 leaves US 322 going north to Kylertown, and we are signed to West Interstate 80 Clearfield, and Pennsylvania Route 53 is to eastbound Interstate 80. And we meet Pennsylvania Route 970 again. We get Shawville for North 970 to Interstate 80. Woodland, again, not even on Pennsylvania Route 970, so it didn't make sense to sign it going eastbound out of Clearfield at all. Although, I might have skipped like a mileage sign or something with Woodland on it, but either way, it doesn't really matter. Clearfield is absolutely what should be signed. Westbound for 322 out of Phillipsburg, and that is what we get here. Although then we got a mileage sign with Clearfield being 6 miles away and Luthersburg being on the bottom line. And in any case, I don't agree with Luthersburg being on the bottom line. Sure, we meet US Route 219 in Luthersburg, but Luthersburg is really, really small, and any junctions that you would have there do not justify it to be a bottom line control city. At this point, we should be going for Du Bois. I said it shouldn't be on the signs earlier, but that was only coming out of State College, and we are a lot closer to Du Bois now, so having this smaller town does make sense in this case because of meeting US Route 119 and having the option to go to 219 from there, northbound. So, yeah, absolutely Luthersburg should not be on the bottom line here. And then as we get onto the outskirts of Clearfield, we meet Pennsylvania Route 879 once again, and it is signed for Kerwinsville, while we continue to be signed for Clearfield because we are not quite downtown yet. And in Clearfield, we meet Pennsylvania Route 153, and just look at all these signs. Holy crap, there was a lot going on here. A northbound control city for Pennsylvania 153 of Ridgeway, our westbound control city for US 322 of Du Bois. Well, what it should be signed for, I don't know if that's necessarily telling us that Du Bois is 20 miles away on US 322. Kerwinsville is 7 miles away, south on Pennsylvania 153. Just look at all of this signage. Holy crap, there is a lot going on at this intersection. My God. There is all the information you could ever need right here as we cross the west branch of the Susquehanna River. And then we get a nice mileage sign with Ridgeway on the bottom line for Pennsylvania Route 153, Du Bois, and Luthersburg being our secondaries and whatnot. And then we split from Pennsylvania Route 153 as it goes northbound to Interstate 80. And on the sign in the distance, we can see that Pennsylvania Route 153 is signed for Ridgeway, and we get signs for Rockton and Luthersburg, which absolutely should not be there. That should be Du Bois. And then, as we leave Pennsylvania Route 153, this is after our last portion of 4-lane divided expressway, and you can see you have to slow down and make a 90-degree turn to get onto westbound US 322 just by itself, and that is absurd. I think they could construct this intersection a little bit differently and better. Although maybe there isn't really that much traffic around here, so maybe it's fine, but I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine heading westbound on 322 here at like 50 miles an hour, and then suddenly I have to brake and then make that turn, and it just feels like it would be scary to do. But anyway, then we get another mileage sign horribly for Rockton on the top line, 7 miles away, and Luthersburg on the bottom line, 11 miles away. Du Bois. Du Bois. Do you hear me, PennDOT? Du Bois. Or actually, Xavier 456 pronounced it as Du Bois. And you know what? I like that. That has a nice ring to it to me, I think. So yeah, Du Bois! Du Bois should be on the bottom line of this mileage sign. There is no reason for Luthersburg to be there. Sign Du Bois. And we do get a sign for Du Bois on this random nothing little road, and we get signed for Luthersburg. This is insanity. Oh my god. This is so stupid. At this point, you might as well put Brookville there, because that is the control city that we should have after DuBois. Oh my god, this signage is so stupid. Although, after that, then we do get a mileage sign with Luthersburg on the top line and Brookville on the bottom line, which is fine. If you're not going to put DuBois on the bottom line, then absolutely, yeah, Brookville is the right control city after DuBois. We meet US 219 once again, and thankfully, we don't get Kerwinsville signed for it like we did on eastbound 322. Although I presume that's because we already had a junction for that town in the form of Pennsylvania 879. But either way, 219 correctly gets signed southbound for Ebensburg, which, again, Ebensburg is like 3,000 people, but it has some important junctions there to make it worth signing 55 miles away. And northbound 219 gets signed for DuBois 6 miles away, and we are signed for Brookville 22 miles away. So once again, this is a great job done here at this intersection. Makes up for some of the other shit that PennDOT has thrown at us. Excuse my language, but I mean, there's really no other good way to describe it. And here we are in Luthersburg as we meet Pennsylvania Route 410 going westbound to Punxsutawney. And then our concurrency is signed for DuBois 6 miles away for 219 northbound, and Brookville 23 miles away for 322 westbound. So, sensible. Correct. I approve. And then US 219 leaves US 322 going northbound to DuBois, and we are signed for Brookville, as we should be. And then we get a mileage sign with Reynoldsville 8 miles away and Brookville 20 miles away. And then we meet US 119 southbound for Punxsutawney and DuBois 3 miles away. Although, maybe DuBois doesn't make so much sense to sign here because we have already had 2 options to go to DuBois. So maybe you could have another control city for US 219 here. I think you could also sign Ridgeway, or if we want to take a really big swing, we could just say Buffalo here, because eventually 219 will go to Buffalo. There's probably a place you could sign for it on the way up there, because Buffalo is quite a ways away from here, and I don't know, I'm just spitballing ideas. I suppose DuBois here isn't a crime or anything, but like, I think you could just have another control city, because 119 will be ending when it gets to 219, and that will be what actually takes you to DuBois. And then after that intersection, we get another mileage sign with Reynoldsville and Brookville. And here in Reynoldsville, we are on Pennsylvania 310, the northern end of it. And we are assigned westbound for Brookville and eastbound for Clearfield, as opposed to State College. Or DuBois. But absolutely not Clearfield. That does not make sense to be signed on eastbound 322 at all. And then, as we leave Reynoldsville, we get another mileage sign, and Brookville is now our top line at 10 miles away, with Clarion being on the bottom line at 26 miles away. And I said in the eastbound video that maybe you can make an argument for Clarion being there because there is a university in Clarion, and we meet a few different Pennsylvania roads. But going westbound, Clarion makes even less sense because we are not that far away from Franklin, which is like twice the size of Clarion. and we meet US 62 and Pennsylvania Route 8 there. And those roads can take you to, well, not gargantuan places in Pennsylvania, but stuff that's bigger than Franklin, actually. And yeah, just there is no reason for signing Clarion at all going westbound. Absolutely. Maybe you don't need to have Brookville here because, you know, it's only 10 miles away. Although it's still somewhat of an important junction because of Pennsylvania routes 28 and 36. And, you know, major trucks stopped and stuff. But what I definitely do know for sure is that Clarion should not be on the bottom line. But let's continue. And here as we get to the eastern edge of Brookville, we meet Pennsylvania Route 28, and we're concurrent with that as we go westbound and Pennsylvania Route 28 goes southbound. And then here we get our fun tri-directional concurrency once again, our very brief concurrency with westbound 322, southbound Pennsylvania 28, and northbound Pennsylvania 36. So that's a lot of fun to see. And again, we are to Interstate 80 because really, it's kind of funny. If you consider routes to get from western Pennsylvania to central Pennsylvania and eastern Pennsylvania and stuff, you could almost consider Interstate 80 as like the express lanes and 322 as the local lanes. Just that there's no toll for the express lanes, and the express lanes are like a bit of a ways away from the local lanes and stuff. It's really interesting how Interstate 80 and 322 are parallel for a lot of western Pennsylvania. And then here, Pennsylvania routes 28 and 36 leave us. And actually, speaking of Interstate 80, if you look in the distance, you can actually see Interstate 80 and the junction that it will have with Pennsylvania Route 36. So that's pretty cool, actually. This is a pretty nice picture that I took, if I do say so myself. This looks really cool. It almost kind of reminds me of that famous picture of Breezewood, you know, with all the restaurants and gas stations and hotels and stuff. Yeah, this is pretty cool. And then after we leave Brookville, we get this stupidly horrible mileage sign with Corsica and Clarion on it. Nope. Put Franklin there. And then we have the northern end of our brief concurrency with Pennsylvania Route 949, and it is going to Sigel? I don't know how I pronounce that. But either way, this picture is absolutely horrible. Look at this street view imagery. I'm disappointed in you, Google. I think you should come through here again. Heck, once I finally get my license, yeah, I know, I'm 24 years old, I don't have my license. I really should do something about that, but yeah, like, sign me up to drive the Google Street View car. I want to drive the Google Street View car. I want to fix this terrible image, and I'll go wherever you need me to. That would be fun, driving the Google Street View car. And then we have this really interesting junction Interstate 80 sign, which tells us that Interstate 80 is 850 feet ahead, and it is named the Keystone Shortway. And once again, it gets the horrible control cities of Sharon going westbound and Du Bois going eastbound. New York City and Youngstown, or Cleveland. Although, again, I said in the eastbound video, I think Du Bois is a fine secondary for Interstate 80 because of all the reasons that I've talked about at length before. But no, on this sign should be New York City. New York City. Understand? New York City. And again, something in Ohio for westbound. I don't know. I don't care. Just not sharing. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. And then, to rub salt in the wound, now we get the absolutely atrocious control city that we saw in the eastbound video. That is now our control city going westbound. We get signed 322 westbound, Strattonville. No! Franklin is what should be on this sign. Absolutely not Strattonville. Oh my god, PennDOT, this interchange is absolutely awful. In terms of the control cities and the design. Because if we look on eastbound Interstate 80, this ramp to get onto the exit for US 322, we have to slow down to 15 miles an hour to get off this ramp. And you know what the speed limit on Interstate 80 is? 70 miles an hour. You have to slow down 55 miles an hour to make this turn. What? That's absurd. This interchange absolutely ought to be reconstructed. And you know what? Put the correct control cities on it. How about that? Oh my goodness gracious. Let's just move on. And thankfully, we get to Clarion and we get Franklin. So that is relieving to see. And then as we leave Clarion, we get this mileage sign with Shippenville 4 miles away and Franklin 28 miles away. Franklin 28 miles away as our bottom line. So that is good at least. And then on our way to Franklin, we get this nice view that I didn't put on the eastbound video because I think I just had no idea that it existed. And frankly, even if it were there, it just would have added even more runtime to how already long that video was. That was a crazy, stupid long video. And, well, again, I'm going to try not to do that here, but also at the same time, I want to show some stuff westbound on this route that we didn't see because, like, there's a lot of interesting stuff on this route, and I think you guys should get to see it. And here in the little town of Cranberry, we meet Pennsylvania Route 257, and it gets signed for Oil City, and actually Rockland is not even on Pennsylvania Route 257. I'm not sure why it would be there, just like some random nothing little town that you can get to if you turn the other way. Although we're actually looking from eastbound 322 here, I couldn't find this sign on the westbound route, or at least I wanted to get the control cities with this Pennsylvania North 257 as it dead ends here, has its southern end here with us. And then on the other side of this intersection going westbound, we got a mileage sign. Now Franklin is our top line, 8 miles away, and Meadville becomes our bottom line, 35 miles away. And that is correct because of our junctions with Interstate 79, US 6, and US 19. And, you know, Meadville's 13,000 people. Pretty much it is the biggest town that we're going to see throughout the whole rest of Pennsylvania. And here as we come into Franklin, we meet up with Pennsylvania Route 8 and US Route 62 once again. And we have our very brief concurrency with those two routes as they leave to go southbound. And then we crossed French Creek for our first time going westbound. And we get these overhead signs with Pennsylvania Route 417 at our junction with it and westbound 322. And here is our junction with Pennsylvania Route 417 going westbound, as we will make the left turn here, and Pennsylvania 417 will go to our right. And then we meet the southern end of Pennsylvania Route 427, and it is signed for Cooperstown. Wow, that's a long route to get to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Oh, wait, we're talking about Cooperstown, Pennsylvania, 4 miles away. Oh, well, that makes a lot more sense. And then we got a mileage sign with... How have I not gotten roasted in the comments yet for that pronunciation of that town? I'm still not really sure if I said it right. And then Meadville on the bottom line, 20 miles away. And then we meet Pennsylvania Route 173, and it is the route that is signed to go to that funny town name. Although we actually get a sign telling us that we are in that borough here on westbound 322. The limits of this borough are pretty weird, as are a lot of them on US 322, and we can see we go right through the northern part of this little borough. And then we come into Meadville, and we get signed to Interstate 79 as we make this left turn here, so that is nice. And then here is our junction with US Route 6 and 19 as we join them for another little concurrency, this one being a bit more substantial than some of the other ones. And then we have our intersection with Interstate 79, and we don't quite get the awesome vista that we had when we were going eastbound. We had that great view at the southbound ramp, but the control cities that Interstate 79 gets are still no less perfect here. That is correct. 79 north going to Erie. That is where the road will end, and it meets Interstate 90. And southbound for Pittsburgh, because, you know, Pittsburgh, like 500,000 people. Just, once again, perfection. Absolutely the right choices to be signed at this intersection. And then, as we look on Interstate 79, we get signed westbound for Conneaut Lake. And I still disagree with that going in this direction because, well, you know what? We're going to see in a minute. I'm not going to talk about it just yet. And then US 19 splits off from US 322 as we have the intersection for Pennsylvania 98, and southbound US 19 is signed for Mercer, and Pennsylvania 98 northbound is signed for Fairview. And then once again, here is a look inside the roundabout as Pennsylvania Route 98 goes northbound and US 19 goes southbound. And we are now just left with US 6 as our westbound concurrency. And then on the next mileage sign, Conneaut Lake is actually our top line. And on the bottom line, we get Cleveland! We get Cleveland on the bottom line! And Cleveland is 85 miles away! Oh my goodness! That is amazing! We actually get Cleveland on the bottom line! Holy mackerel! This is great! There is absolutely nothing worth signing westbound in Pennsylvania, and they oblige! And this isn't even like a recent thing either that was just put up like in the last few years or so. This sign is from 2012, and we can see Cleveland is still on the bottom line here. That's amazing! Holy crap, Pennsylvania! You actually did something right with a long distance control city and out of state nonetheless. Holy crap! That's amazing. Wow. I'm amazed, PennDOT. You know, in the central and eastern parts, you made some pretty bad decisions, but I'm impressed. This is amazing. Cleveland on the bottom line for such a long distance. Holy crap. Why can't this be indicative of the whole state? That's crazy. But anyway, here is where we have our brief, eeny-meeny, like 2-block little quad concurrency with U.S. routes 6, 322, and Pennsylvania routes 18 and 285. And then here is the split where US 6 and Pennsylvania 285 leave, and we are now concurrent with westbound Pennsylvania route 18. And then southbound Pennsylvania 18 leaves as it goes to Winesville. I think that was the control city. I don't remember. You can look at my eastbound 322 video for what that is. And now we are just US 322 westbound all by itself as we get this really bad looking reassurance shield. Oh my god, I hate how that reassurance shield looks. But on a positive note, we get another mileage sign with Cleveland on the bottom line, as we are 74 miles out from it with Jamestown on the top line. Where it belongs should not be a bottom line control city, Ohio. And then in Jamestown, we meet up with Pennsylvania Route 58 once again, and it is signed eastbound for Greenville, westbound for Kinsman, and we still have that awesome Cleveland signage as we are 68 miles out. And then westbound Pennsylvania Route 58 splits off, and we will continue on 322 westbound going to Ohio. And here as we enter Ohio, we get our only welcome sign for the entirety of this coverage of US 322. We do not get a welcome sign going into Pennsylvania going westbound. We do not get one going eastbound. Did not get a welcome sign going into Pennsylvania eastbound. And I forgot about the eastbound welcome sign in New Jersey. How can I forget about that one? Like, the only one that I have ever seen where it would actually make sense to have it there. Like, I don't know why doesn't New Jersey have welcome signs on like its interstate routes like 78, 80. I don't think 76 has a welcome sign. Like all these other routes that should have welcome signs, and we had a welcome sign in New Jersey eastbound on 322, which was like one of the good things that New Jersey did. Going eastbound, you know, like it sucked westbound, but we are way past that now. Let's not dwell on it anymore, and let's just continue into Ohio. We meet Ohio Route 193 here, and Ohio Route 193 gets signed for Orwell. What? What is Orwell? That is just... I don't... Actually, you know what? I don't care. It's irrelevant. Because we were signed for Cleveland. Going westbound. In Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, for crying out loud. Why does Cleveland just disappear from the signage in its own state? That makes no sense. Absolutely, this should be Cleveland. There is no reason for anything else. Holy crap, Ohio. You have failed on all accounts on this route. Wow, it's amazing when you get outclassed by Pennsylvania. We meet Ohio Route 11 once again, and the control cities on it are absolutely irrelevant when going westbound because we have Cleveland, population like 400,000 way out there. So, no, I said Youngstown should be signed from the jump on eastbound. No, that does not deserve to be a control city going westbound when you have Cleveland, because it's Cleveland. Like, there's no reason not to sign Cleveland. And if we look on Ohio Route 11 itself, we get signage for Orwell and Jamestown, Pennsylvania. So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to dub this as a rare Pennsylvania W, because Pennsylvania outclassed Ohio completely in its control cities for once. That is absolutely insane. And I hope that maybe someday I can find more instances of this, because that would be really nice to see. Wow, I can't believe how bad the signage for this route is in Ohio. Like, yeah, sure, it's fine to sign smaller places when you're doing a US route, but like, does it matter when you're dealing with places that are as big as Cleveland? Does it really matter? Especially when, you know, freaking Pennsylvania, one of the worst DOTs in the country at signing control cities, when that is signing Cleveland from inside its borders, does it really matter, like, at all, if you sign a smaller place in Ohio? You know, the state where Cleveland is in, does that matter? No, I think not. Yeah, like I said, Pennsylvania wins when it comes to control cities here. Although we do get Cleveland on the bottom line, on the last mileage sign that we see, but absolutely, it should not have been Orwell before. Orwell is not control city worthy for any route. I don't care. You could have like friggin' like one of those 4-digit unsigned Pennsylvania routes, and Orwell would not be worthy of control city sign. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but just like Ohio, you did absolutely terrible in the first like 15 miles or so. No, we should have had Cleveland there. I'm sorry. Like I said, Pennsylvania takes the cake for the superior control city signs there. I swear, I'm not biased. That's just how it is, man. And we jump ahead to the Cleveland metro area, and we are on Interstate 271 here, as 322 westbound is signed for Mayfield Heights. Mayfield Road is just the name of the road. Mayfield Road is just the name of the pavement that 322 has in this area. But Mayfield Heights is pretty much just where we are right now, so fail! And as we start to get into downtown Cleveland, here we have our little concurrency of like 6 millimeters with US Route 20. And here US Route 322 splits off to just be by itself. We meet Interstate 90, and we don't really get any like control cities on it or anything, although unlike what we saw in the eastbound video, everything is accessed, like this sign just gets to Interstate 71, Interstate 77, and Ohio Route 2, just everything we saw before, and there's no like lane shifting required to get to one way or the other. It's all on one sign. And on Interstate 90 itself, once again, US 322 is not signed as US 322, we just get Chester Avenue, so it is what it is, although I would like to see it up there, because, I mean, it's not exactly like some random nothing little road that has no relevance to anything. Although, I guess it kind of makes a little more sense going this way that we don't get the shield, because we are almost at the end of US 322. I would still like to see it, though. I think there's no reason not to have the US 322 shield. And then as we come up to East 13th Street, we make our right turn for US 322 westbound. And then we make our final turn as we become concurrent with US 6 for our final few blocks of westbound 322 that we have. And just like on the eastbound side here in downtown Cleveland, we do not get an N322 shield. 322 just randomly disappears, and the next sign that we see just has these 4 routes listed on it. So that's kind of a shame, although in this direction I think it's not as disappointing because we were not concurrent with a major east to west US route like US 40. US 322 isn't that important to demand an end sign, but I still would have liked to see one anyways. But with that, we now move on to Quarter Launch 437's The Way It Should Be. And this is not going to be the same thing as the eastbound Way It Should Be, but in reverse. US 322 westbound is a completely different beast entirely. So right from the jump, I say it should be Philadelphia. Now, I said in the eastbound video, well, I said that after I finished the eastbound video, I made my peace with Glassboro being a control city for eastbound US 322 when we were leaving Philadelphia. In westbound 322, no, I stand my ground. There is absolutely nothing in New Jersey that's worth signing when you have Philadelphia, a city of 1.5 million people chilling just 60 miles into your 500-mile US route. There is no reason that a city of this size should not be prioritized over anything else. And New Jersey failed absolutely horribly when it comes to signing this. They signed pretty much everything they could going westbound except for Philadelphia. And even when they had literally no choice but to sign it, they just went with Pennsylvania. And that is absolutely disgusting, vile, every single bad word you could use to describe it. But then I think that signing Westchester out of Philadelphia, the way they do it, is okay because, once again, I don't think it's right to reciprocate what I had for eastbound, having Philadelphia signed out of Ephrata, because Ephrata is, again, just way too far away and way too small to be signed for as far away as it is from Westchester. So, absolutely, Westchester should be the next sign. And then, after Westchester, it's okay to sign Ephrata. Or, I guess I should have said, Ephrata is way too far away from Philly to be signed out of Philly. So, Philadelphia, Westchester, Ephrata. That's how it should be. And then, leaving Ephrata, I think Hershey is fine, although maybe, again, not so important because, again, I don't even know if you can access US 422 going eastbound from westbound 322. And either way, it wouldn't really make so much sense for westbound traffic to just double back on eastbound 422. Although there is still stuff in Hershey that makes it worth signing, and I think Hershey's like 20,000 people or something like that. So I think it's okay to sign westbound, although I suppose, again, I wouldn't be upset if Harrisburg just replaced all the Hershey signage west of Ephrata. But absolutely, coming out of Hershey, it should be Harrisburg. There's nothing else, really, I think even between the two towns, between the two places that I think should be on there, if it exists at all, just like, yeah, Hershey, Harrisburg. That's how it is. That's how it should be. And I think that's pretty much how it is. I don't think there was anything else. Or maybe I just didn't look or include it in this video. But anyways, absolutely out of Harrisburg, State College is what should be signed. There is no reason for Lewistown to be signed westbound because State College is only just a little bit farther away from Lewistown. And if it's okay to sign State College eastbound out of Harrisburg, which maybe necessarily shouldn't be the case. But no, there is no excuse for signing Lewistown going westbound. State College is 5 times bigger than Lewistown, and you know, having an avenue to go to Interstate 80 is nothing to be slept on, ignored. And you know, it's State College. Like, come on, it's 40,000 people. You know, it's famous. It's just way more important to sign going westbound than Lewistown. No reason for Lewistown. And then, out of State College, I would sign Phillipsburg the way they do it, because I said eastbound that it should be State College coming out of DuBois, but I said it already before, earlier in this video. There's no reason for DuBois to be signed westbound out of State College, because yeah, it has some important junctions there, but it's also like 7,000 people and not important to be signed from like 60 miles away. Absolutely, Phillipsburg should be the choice, even though it is technically smaller, but it also has a bunch of junctions that are worthy of being acknowledged on its own, and so that's why I think that Phillipsburg should be there. And then coming out of Phillipsburg, I think Clearfield makes sense to be signed, because you saw all that signage for 322, Pennsylvania 153, and just another option to go to Interstate 80. So again, I wouldn't have signed it going eastbound, but that's only because between DuBois and State College, there is nothing that should have been signed, because it's all just really small towns like Phillipsburg and Clearfield. So yeah, I think Clearfield makes a lot of sense going westbound, where it does not going eastbound, because of similar reasons to Phillipsburg, although maybe Phillipsburg is a bit more prominent in that regard. But either way, after that, then I would do DuBois coming out of Clearfield, because now we are close enough, like when we get to Clearfield, we're close enough to DuBois where it's not so bad to sign it. And you know, US 219, 119, all that good stuff. Although maybe if you're going to Punxsutawney or Ebensburg, you know, taking Pennsylvania Route 410 or US 219, maybe Ruthersburg is a bit more important for you. But, you know, I don't like to sign random nothing little towns, eeny little places with like 4 people that live there. I don't like putting those on the bottom line of anything. So, yeah, absolutely DuBois should be there out of Clearfield. And then after that, it should be Brookville, for basically the same reasons why it would be the other way around going eastbound. And then coming out of Brookville, Clarion makes even less sense than it would going eastbound. So absolutely, I think that Franklin should be signed there and not Clarion. Absolutely, I would do Franklin instead. That's what should be there. No Clarion, no anything in between there, nothing at all. And then out of Franklin, it should be Meadville, because of the junction with Interstate 79 and meeting US 19 and US Route 6. It should be Meadville, and you know, Meadville is like twice the population of Franklin, which is already pretty big for western Pennsylvania. And then out of Meadville, there is absolutely no reason to sign anything but Cleveland. Cleveland. Not Orwell, not anything in Ohio other than Cleveland. Just the city. The city that this US route is going to westbound. Absolutely, there is no excuse for anything in Ohio to be signed westbound other than Cleveland. Even Youngstown does not matter, because Cleveland is not that far away. Cleveland, that is what you sign coming out of Meadville. Now, with that concludes my whole coverage of US 322, both the eastbound and the westbound videos. So thank you so much once again for watching these US Route 322 videos. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed what you saw here. Subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment for me if you have any feedback, or if you want to discuss this road anymore. But with all that being said, once again, thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, everyone, peace.